I reviewed PirateSoftware's code.
Guys, today we will be doing a code review of a popular YouTuber and streamer by the name of Thor or Pirate Software. Now, why am I picking on Thor here in particular? Well, Thor has not only what appears to be lied about his experience, or at the very minimum played it off as something that it's really not, but he's also misrepresented the initiative and has doubled and tripled down in that misrepresentation.
If you're going to be putting forward something that you want to start a conversation to eventually become legislation, and these are the reasons for it, not only can I not agree with the initiative, but I can't agree with you, and I won't agree with Ross. There's no way around that. I think this is gross. To sum it all up, no, I will not be supporting the initiative Stop Killing Games.
Cryptically wishing for the movement to fail.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I hope that your initiative gets everything you asked for, but nothing you wanted.
I don't know why you do that, but he decided to do so. He doesn't even have to agree with the movement. He just needs to admit that he misrepresented it. Now, other creators have reviewed this drama to no end and have gone over his employment history and timeline. But what I want to do that I guess would make this video unique is go over his actual code from his developer live streams and analyze whether this guy has the skills that he claims he has as a 20-year veteran and game developer working for Blizzard and other game publishers, etc.
My name is Jason Thor Hall, also known as Pirate Software Online. I've been in the gaming industry for about 20 years. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment, then Amazon Game Studios, and now I own my own studio, Pirate Software, by the same name, which is an indie studio, and I've been here for about 8 years now.
Now, why should...
Wait, I just realized his name is Pirate Software. Like, his name is Pirate Software. Like, he's saying, yo, pirate my shit. Like, guys, everyone, Pirate Software, boys. Fucking get it. Get it. That's what his name is. That's actually kind of cool name, actually, now that I think. You know, I thought about it before. I was like, oh, Pirate Software, Pirate Software. But, like, his name is, like, you know, Pirate Software. Bro, let's get it, bro.
You guys listen to me about any of this? Well, I'm a C++ developer with 5 years of experience in the quantitative trading space. I've read dozens of books on C++ and over half a dozen books just on C++ design.
A lot of books.
From influencers in the space to professors to people that also have YouTube channels to time-tested and trusted books. I've read a lot, and while I'm not an authority in C++, I'm pretty likely to be somebody that can suss out a bad practice if I see one. At least I hope. I also have a bunch of open source contributions in C++ on projects that I find interesting, like Monero. Now, when I was making notes for this video, because I like to come prepared, I thought I'd need to go through dozens of different developer streams. But what I found out really quickly is that I can only find 2 developer streams that Thor actually brings up code on the screen in, and in those developer streams, he does not actually do any coding. The code is just visually there on the screen, and 98% of the actual stream is him looking at his subscribers, looking at his tip jar as to how much money people have sent him, and also looking at videos about games, but never actually doing any game development.
Yo, dude, that's crazy. There it is. There it is. Hey, oh, he's a streamer Andy. Dude, I remember that. That shit's crazy, bro. Yeah, those things, dude, the Hype Train streams that Pirates did, dude, those some of the best streams on the platform.
In a dev stream. Without further ado, let's actually take a look at some of his code. I recommend people actually download these VODs before he takes them down, because honestly, if I was claiming I'm a game developer with 20 years of experience, this would be embarrassing to have online. Let's take a look at what's really wrong about this, and I don't even need to be a game dev to understand that. When you look at the code here, what do you see?
Okay, let's see. Part type sprite. So it's like a sprite. Okay, so it's this is like the
fat bozo.
This is the sprite for something when it drops. Okay, effect drop. Okay, it's in a drop. Okay, so it's the spur spark, false, true. Yeah, no idea, no fucking clue, no clue what I'm looking at, guys. Gotta be honest. Part type sprite, part type size, effect drop, life, gravity, speed. Okay, so it's like the physics of it. Yeah, I don't know.
See a lot of magic numbers. That's an industry term for numbers that don't have any description or explanation as to what they are or why they exist. And you also have a lot of true or false, which is not descriptive at all. When you look at any function call as another developer, you should understand what's going on without needing to read through the implementation of the actual method itself. So part type sprite, part type size, I don't need to read through that to understand what's being passed to it and what it's doing. But that's not what's going on here. I should need to ask myself, what is this number 1? What is the 0? What does it signify? Right? Imagine we have a car object. And I create the car object by passing in 96, 4, false, false. Do you have any idea about what those
let's see,
car object?
Okay, it's 98 horsepower, 4 wheels. And no, it's not red, and no, it doesn't fly.
By passing in 96, 4, false, false.
Boom.
Do you have any idea about what those numbers mean? How I'm initializing that car? You don't.
No clue.
A
No
step
idea.
above that, a better alternative would be to specify in words what 96 means. For
Bro, I'm close. I got horsepower. Door number, not wheel number. Is automatic, is electric. I was fucking, dude, I'm like, damn, bro.
For example, unsigned 32-bit integer, horsepower
I'll take that.
equals 96. Number of doors equals 4. Is automatic equals false. Is electric equals false. And then pass that into the construction of car. That is the bare minimum. That's what I would expect out of an intern that's fresh out of school. Taking that a step further, you can implement a...
What if PirateSoftware was so advanced that this intern pussy shit where you write notes is actually for losers, and actually coding elites don't do notes, and they don't do all that fancy shit, and they just do it raw dog. They just code it.
Clown
What if
Week
actually,
would definitely live up to its name if you streamed with Pirate for that.
what if this guy's a Danny Kugler? What if this guy's the Danny Kugler, and he actually doesn't know that once you've actually been coding for 20 years, that all those rules go out the window, baby, and you just straight up hard code that shit with 0 notes? Huh? What if you... straight up. This guy could be the complete noob.
Concept called strong typing, which is the most expressive form of instantiation. What we can do in that case is define an alias at the bare minimum or a class, and we can call it horsepower. And then we can create an enumeration for things like transmission or fuel. And then we'd alter the car's constructor and pass in that information. Horsepower 98, door number 4, transmission automatic.
Well, I'm telling you, when you code shit, you start seeing the world differently. You like start quantifying things and classifying. And I'm telling you, this like changes the what your framework. These coder guys, they think so smart. When you talk to coders, they have very efficient solutions to problems. It's because they are turning it all, they're getting the values and the classifications, and they're making it super succinct. And it makes a lot of sense when you're like looking at problems. I'm just saying they become more logical.
You don't need to be a game developer to know that that's a lot more maintainable than whatever Thor has here. Another really good example of that is at 2556. So if we jump there, okay, right here. Alarm 0, alarm 1, alarm 2. What is that? What are those alarms? Is it an alarm for person A, an alarm for whatever character, an alarm to do what? It's unexpressive. It's really spaghetti code.
You don't get it, bro? You don't know about alarm 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, bro? Well, that's the thing you don't need to know, bro. Pirate knows, pussy. Does the game work?
Opinion. Okay. Let's go
This is probably what PoE's coding looks like, by the way. High store 1, high store 2, high store 3, like 0, 0, 0. Except it goes up to 17.
Around 1 hour and 4 minutes. This is also a complete mess for a couple of reasons. First of all, Thor is using the incorrect data types.
Ooh.
This isn't even getting to some sort of advanced design or design
Data
pattern.
types.
It's showing a complete lack of understanding how to represent information in a program. Okay? What do I mean by that? Well, look at question asked equals 0. Question.
I don't know if this guy is this. I'm not good enough at coding to know if this guy. It's like, well, actually, he's not using the correct identifiers. That like all that matters is the outcome. Does the code work? Is he a well actually, or is he actually? Because I don't know. I'm too stupid to understand. Like just technically isn't up to practice. But it's like, Nate, if someone builds a house and it's a good house and it works, like fuck it. He's coding to use it. I don't know. Who the fuck cares? I do.
Asked, in my opinion, is true or false. Has this question been asked? It should be a Boolean data type. What does 0 mean? Booleans are represented as integers under the hood. So in C++, anything that isn't 0 is true. So 1 is true. But why would you even give another developer the option to write question asked equals 42?
Yeah, do you think David Brevik gives a fuck about properly putting notes on his code? When he's like coding an entire game himself. He's like, well, what if another guy is going to kind of take up the project and like fucking change some shit and it lurks below? Like, I don't know. Well, I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. Does David Brevik do this? Does he? He worked at Blizzard. I don't know if you know. Dude, is David Brevik first generation or second generation? He must be like alpha version generation Blizzard. If PirateSoftware's the first second generation, and then you've got like the guys who worked at the other Blizzard, and then there's the people who are like the Blizzard West or North or whatever the fuck. So he's like 0th generation, I guess.
Because anything other than 0 is true, but why even allow somebody to write code that can potentially be that confusing? It's just a no-go. Another thing here that I noticed is the absurd amount of comments. Most of the time, you don't need to write comments in your code. That's because your code should be self-documenting. But there is a 1 to 5% case rate in which you should be writing comments only if your code is extremely complex. You don't need to add comments here. Having a comment for we have asked the question and question asks equals 1 is totally superfluous, a waste of time, a waste of space. I'm not sure why it was added, if not just to waste time on a dev stream, to spend more time pretending you're coding than watching videos.
Whoa. Is he really fucking hating on the streamer formula right now, bro? Like you pretend like you're doing something, but you actually just watch videos? Nah. Coding Jesus. Nah.
Okay. Let's take a look at his second stream, because the rest of this stream is reviewing other games, looking at his subscription count. I don't know why he gets so horny looking at this. Watching video games, etc. You guys get the point. Storyline array number. Oh my god. Here he appears to be storing a timeline of events.
Wait, what else he got here? Wait, how many fucking bars he got? We got the dono goal, the bet goal, and he's got the hype challenge goal. What is going on here, dude? Fucking, there's a lot of bars, bro. It's a lot of bars.
Flat one-dimensional array with random numbers as the indices in order to represent said event. So literally anything would be an upgrade over what is written here. For example, what he could have done is created a nested structure where all of those default values, instead of being hard-coded and written in some file, can simply be stored in a YAML or configuration file that could be edited outside of the build as to not waste time rebuilding the entire application
Didn't know about the XML
in a YAML
files.
or XML format. That's development 101. You learn it in the first week of your new job as either an intern.
They don't know about the YAML file. Who doesn't know about YAML files, brother?
Or a junior developer. What's even worse is he now also needs to remember what 419 means. So somewhere in his code, he needs to actually add a comment or something to represent what 419 is. As you can see here, I found the file that contains all these events, which are the association between a magic number and some state. It's very obvious that this can get very unwieldy extremely quickly. As you can see here, he has some number associated with 0, 1, or even 2, and then he needs to detail in a comment what that means. Now, imagine a developer accidentally puts 2 here or 3. Finding, tracking, and solving that bug is really going to be a development nightmare. What if you forget to type 3 here and it accidentally type 2?
Bro,
and
oh my god, dude, that shit scares me. Like, I can't, like, I fucking flip numbers around all the time. I would need to, like, quadruple and quintuple check every single one. That is just, like, fuck that. So this is how bugs are in PoE. Is he showing us to, like, some guy just fucking added an extra number in or, like, change one thing? Just don't... Yeah.
Associating coffee cold knowledge with floor 2 coffee age. Or even worse, in your code somewhere, instead of typing 213, you type 214, and now need to go back and track why your game is misbehaving. This is extremely poor practice and can get very messy very quickly. Not only that, but this is going to significantly decrease the velocity of your development because you're going to need to jump between the storyline vars file, find the event you want to reference somewhere else in code, and go back to that line that you'd like to reference the event in. So you're going to constantly need to be jumping between files, forgetting, potentially mistyping, and it's just a recipe for disaster. When it comes to the nested structure, though, tell me what you think is better. What Thor has here or what I have on screen, which in my opinion is much more...
Yeah, okay. Global story shop cache. Okay, I really don't know if that's good or bad. I'm going to be honest. Again, completely illiterate.
Expressive. Now, this goes beyond simply liking code better. What I have on screen is objectively better because it makes it harder for you and others to make mistakes, and it's a lot clearer as to what's going on. I don't even need to know how this game is designed to understand that whatever he's doing here is not optimal. I also don't need to recommend the most optimal data structure because literally anything would be better than this. Another thing that's really...
God damn, dude. Holy. Dude, he's already dead. Oh, yo, literally anything. Yo, okay, bro. What, get a monkey to like randomly press keys on a keyboard. I'm pretty sure that's going to be worse than what PirateSoftware's doing. Okay, Guppo. All right, Jesus.
Really weird is that he's using these numbers to represent people, and now everywhere he writes the number 1 and when it represents a person, he needs to remember that it's Shelly, which is presumably a game character. Imagine removing all these comments.
Just calling it Shelly.
Would you, as a newly added game developer to his game project, have any idea that 1 is Shelly? You would have no idea. This would never...
Yeah, that make I could see that, right? Like something like this, you'd basically have to like learn the comment structure in order to make edits. So it'd be like you'd have to like read a book in order to understand how to fuck with shit. Versus like if it's intuitive and makes sense logically, you would just understand the structure and then be able to just...
Shit, I thought we had forgotten all about this guy. Have my prime.
Yeah. It's like making it intuitive versus making it like it's just a codex that you have to unlock. You know, so but then again, if you're the only person coding the game, doesn't fucking matter, I guess, to a certain extent, as long as you can remember how it's done. And if you know, like I don't know, I would like to see how David Brevik coded It Lurks Below. Like that'd be an interesting question to ask him about, you know, like how raw dog they go with the coding, and you know, how many comments are there, and how's the structure done?
Ever be allowed in a production repository, and like I've been hinting, it's below what you'd expect of a bottom tier intern. One way
below a bottom tier intern. Oh my god, is fucking Pirate Software just Elon? Is he Elon? Is he trying to masquerade as a coding Jesus? But he's in fact a, you know, coding, I don't know, the devil would actually probably be pretty good at coding. Just like a peasant.
Another thing that's really weird is that he's using these numbers to represent people, and now everywhere he writes the number 1 and when it represents a person, he needs to remember that it's Shelly, which is presumably a game character. Imagine removing...
It'd be like an anthropomorphic ferret that you can romance.
All these comments. Would you, as a newly added game developer to his game project, have any idea that 1 is Shelly? You would have no idea. This would never ever be allowed in a production repository, and like I've been hinting, it's below what you'd expect of a bottom tier intern. One way to improve this is to write case and then switch on an enumeration. So case character Shelly.
It makes sense if you're committing code to something like World of Warcraft, right, or Diablo 4, or any game like that. I mean, they must have the most squared away, sanitized procedures that are like everything is to like some strict, rigorous, you know, setup where they have this formatting structure that is the same from start to finish. Surely, right? Right. Nah, they would surely.
Way better to whatever he has here. Another example is at 159. more magic numbers, 32. What does message 32 mean? What does message 65 mean? What does message 97 mean? And what are these dialogue options 2, 5, 6, 0? This is a culmination of my past couple of comments, all in one steaming pile of. Surprisingly, that is all the code that I can find in these game developer streams.
This is the game that I work on. It's called Hardbound. Now understand something. Before I send you this link, do not buy my game.
Quin.
I don't know how. I'll be honest. I have this thing. I have a subconscious radar, and I was getting like, I get my. I mean, don't get me wrong. My bullshit radar goes off like crazy whenever I see. Whenever a pirate says anything, I'm just fucking instantly skeptical. Like he could say some basic truth, and I'm like, I don't know about that. You know, all I'm saying is immediately within 17 seconds of the video, I was getting like my bullshit radar was going off just a tad. So but then I'm too illiterate to understand anything that's going on, so I don't know. But I mean, don't get me wrong, that guy seems way more trustworthy than Pirate Software, the coding Jesus guy. But at the same time, I don't know who the fuck that guy is, and I immediately my subconscious is red flagging him. And I've got a very good. I can instantly judge if, generally speaking, bro, I can know pretty fucking fast if someone's like quick. I don't know what you want to call it. Let's call it character judgments. Now, is that me bending the world to my view though? Is it just like I make up my mind that I don't like someone and then therefore, nah, it's not. No, it's logic. It's logical. It's logical. No, it's not. The thing is, bro, I watched PirateSoftware for 20 seconds before he did any of the World of Warcraft stuff, before he did any of this bullshit. Okay? Let's not get twisted. You can even ask Teo, because it's funny because we actually talked about it on Discord one day, and I remember Teo was like clearly going, he hated the guy. And I remember like, he wouldn't even talk. We wouldn't even talk about the person's name, and I already knew who he was talking about. And it's like there's an intuition, and it's hard to describe, but this thing where someone's completely full of shit, and
wants
just
horse girls.
You can see it. You want horse girls, okay, bro. And let me tell you, Pirate Software. Within 20 seconds of watching his shit, I had already been like, this guy's fucking ugh. Yeah, this guy stinks. I hated him before I even saw his code. Wait, this is it. Oh yeah, I got this video here. Where we're at? We got this one here.
I was watching a video that was critiquing you for mentioning you work at Blizzard so much. I literally never talk about it. When I worked at Blizzard, I did that for Blizzard. Blizzard, 7 years, yeah. Blizzard. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. Used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. You're red team specialist for Blizzard Entertainment. And Blizzard is having worked at Blizzard. I grew up at Blizzard. Blizzard, game industry for Blizzard Entertainment. Blizzard. Yeah, no, I worked at Blizzard, game industry for...
We had the Blizzard sword. Although, wait a minute. Let's not get it twisted. He could just be saying Blizzard as in like, I don't talk about Blizzard. We don't know if every one of these Blizzards was him saying he works at Blizzard. Okay.
Blizzard Entertainment. Blizzard. Yeah, no, I worked at Blizzard back when I used to work at Blizzard, when I was at Blizzard. For those who don't understand, like, I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. I know how to do that because I worked at Blizzard. Example of this when I was at Blizzard. How do you know so many things? I worked at Blizzard for 7 years. I don't think I'm better than other people. I do think that it's funny because you key on that. There's a lot of people that brought that up. And it's like, I never said that I was. I think sometimes the things that I talk about in regards to those types of things is misconstrued as arrogance or boasting. When in reality, I'm just trying to give context.
So that is the problem right there. So I want you to listen to this phrase.
Sure.
This gets misconstrued as arrogance, but in reality, it's this.
Yeah.
That is the most arrogant statement on the planet, bro.
I actually am the first second-generation Blizzard employee. I was the first second-generation Blizzard employee ever. The first second-generation Blizzard employee. First second-generation Blizzard.
What does that even mean? Why did you keep saying the first to second? Wait, oh my god, that's crazy.
So I'm second-generation Blizzard. I'm the first second-generation Blizzard employee that ever existed in the company. I'm also a second-generation Blizzard employee. I was a second-generation Blizzard employee. I was the first second-generation Blizzard employee ever. I was the first second-generation Blizzard employee. And I love that shit. I love that company. Working for Blizzard sucked, and I work at Blizzard. Or I worked at Blizzard. There's me eating a sandwich. Yeah, that was actually at Blizzard. I think it was my first. I think it was 2009. It was me picking a safe. It was me cracking a safe in at Blizzard. Your Blizzard stories are fake. Which Blizzard story do you think is fake? Would you like to talk to me or my dad that worked at Blizzard for 23 years? That's currently in chat. Which one do you want?
Dude, I know what chat is like, though.
Would you like?
Do you know what? That's annoying. Do you know what? That's annoying. Like, you say any story. Like, just random benign stories in your past. Just like there's zero reason to lie about or anything. And like, fake story, bro. Oh, yeah, fake. It just pisses you off. When you say something that's true and then someone says fake story, it's just, it irks you. Man, in a way. That's just, it really is upsetting.